Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month. Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month.
The Game Boy, the Xbox, the PlayStation 4. I gotta press pause cause your mom's at my door.
Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month.
We game all month, give out points and sorts. Better look out, it's another Switch port.
Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month. Beat of the month. Beat of the month.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Beat of the Month podcast. This is episode 16, and we're looking at our favorite love games of all time. Games that have a theme of love. What that means, who knows? Is it explicit content or is it just a peck on the cheek? You decide. But tonight I am joined with Emil.
Yo, what up?
Moose.
Yo.
Muff.
Penetration.
Dark Side.
Penetration. No, let's do the bacon.
Melbro.
What up?
Spiral.
Hello.
And Bash.
Ew.
All right,
Yo,
Emil, you want to kick things off with what love-themed games or any other games you played for the month of February?
So, love-themed games, I can go ahead and say I haven't really played any of those this month. I'm just focusing on Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm on chapter 14 out of 17, about 48 hours in right now. Game's awesome, but it's taking a lot of time. I've just been focusing on that. I just want to beat it because if I focus on other games, I tend to kind of lose track. So I'm just sticking with this, with the whole fighting style and everything. So for me, it's just focus on one game at a time and try to complete it. And this is a long one, so I'm almost
How many
there.
hours is it?
I think 60 probably.
Okay.
Realistically, yeah.
The fighting, is it, how much penetration is in the fighting, would you say?
Wow, with the swords or what kind of weapon we're talking about here?
Well, we are doing love games, so I was just curious.
There is a love theme. There is a love theme in the game. It just happens to be because it's an RPG, and there's always some type of love twist in there. But I was playing it before we decided to do this month's theme anyway. But it could count if I beat it, I guess, tonight or tomorrow, but most likely it's not going to happen. But it is a really cool game, and I really do enjoy it. But yeah, as far as actual love theme games, I don't have any, but we'll talk about my top 3 when that comes up.
Does this feel like you're playing a Wii port? Because I know.
Honestly,
does it feel old?
It does not. It does not feel old. Graphics look freaking amazing.
For a Switch game.
Yeah, for a Switch game. I mean, it looks really good for a
You gotta
Switch
have
game.
that caveat.
Yeah. But honestly, it reminds me of like a Final Fantasy, the graphic style and everything. So it's really cool.
Do the motion controls bother you?
I don't use any of the motion controls. But some of the camera angles kind of bother me from time to time. Like if you're fighting a villain that's flying, sometimes the camera can zoom in and out awkwardly, but other than that, I can't really complain about it, to be honest.
Cool.
What made you buy this game?
I was looking for an RPG that I really wanted to play, and I kept looking at reviews, and this is before I got the PS5. So I have a PS3. I don't have the PS4, so I kind of missed that whole PS4 genre, basically, which will be nice to go back in the backlog with the PS5. But yeah, so I was looking. I just looked up reviews, and I was just kind of seeing what game was kind of hot at the time or now for the Switch, and that one came up. I mean, I think it ranked an 89 or something like that. So
yeah, good reviews.
Yeah, it caught my attention. So I am definitely enjoying it, and I do like it a lot. So
you're gonna move into the sequels?
I might actually. But I hear the sequels aren't as good. But this storyline's pretty awesome so far, so I'm really enjoying it.
When did the original come out? Was it Wii or something?
Yeah, it was
2009
the tail
or something,
end.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the tail end
wow.
of the Wii's lifespan. Yeah.
Yeah. but it's cool. I mean, it's action packed. It's there's drama in it. Graphics. I love graphics. Everybody knows that.
Better graphics.
Better graphics, man. I mean, I don't know how the Wii one looked, but this one looks like freaking amazing, honestly. So I'm happy with it.
All right, cool.
So, yep.
You got anything else, Emil?
No, that's it right now. Just focusing on that.
All right, I'm going to go into the games that I played with a love theme. First one, Adventures of Lolo. Has anybody played this? Any of these games?
I played a few levels of it.
So it's on Nintendo Switch Online. So it's an NES game. There's 3 of them on the NES. The first one's on Nintendo Switch Online. That's the one that I played. If you don't know anything about it, it's a block pushing game. So it's like an overhead view, and you're just pushing blocks around because the main goal that you want to do is there's heart blocks scattered around the level. You collect those, and then when you collect them, it opens up a treasure chest, and then you get the treasure, and then it opens up the door, and then you beat the level. So there's different enemies that like kind of impede your progress to be able to do that. There's Medusa heads, where if you walk in front of their path and there's nothing blocking you, then they'll immediately kill you. And
Castlevania birds.
Yeah, similar. Castlevania Adventures of Lolo is like the same game, pretty much.
I love Medusa, man.
But you can push blocks in front of them, so then you can walk in front of them. That's pretty much like the whole game is blocking enemies from being able to attack you. There's other enemies that are like pink little dinosaur-looking things, and they hop around. And then as soon as they touch you, they fall asleep and they can block you, so you got to avoid them. There's other enemies that they don't activate until after you get all the heart pieces. So if you have it set up to where they're blocked, once you get the heart pieces, it's no problem. But if they're not blocked by the time you get all the heart pieces, then they shoot fireballs at you. Or there's skulls that as soon as you get the heart pieces, they'll chase you around and things like that. So, I mean, it's fun. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just 50 levels. It's fairly easy. I would say none of the levels really took me longer than like 10 minutes. I mean, it's not like a similar kind of game. Baba Is You. I mean, Baba Is You is much different, but you're pushing things around. But I mean, it's nowhere near as difficult as Baba Is You.
So, is it a puzzle solver then?
It's a puzzle game. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely a puzzle game. Yeah, you got to kind of think out how you want to push the blocks. And the thing about these block pushing games is that it's very easy to set yourself up to where you cannot beat it. Like if you can't push 2 blocks together. So if you push one block into another block, you can't move it unless you can move it like up or down at that point. You can't push 2 blocks. So if you hit select, you'll automatically kill yourself, and you do that all the time because you're always getting yourself caught in situations where you kind of backed yourself into a corner. But you get a password after every level. I mean, Nintendo Switch Online, it has save states and stuff, but even if you were playing the original NES game, you get a password at the end of every level, which is nice.
I can just imagine you with like a notebook like full of passwords.
I had one of those now as a kid.
So I can keep track of that stuff. But the one thing that kind of sucks is that there's 50 levels, but they all go in order. So like if you're playing a level and it's kind of hard, like you've got to beat that level. Like Baba Is You, or like most other puzzle games, they give you some kind of flexibility to where you can jump to different levels if you get stuck. But this one, you got to go through all 50 levels. So that's a bit of, unfriendly design, I guess, but it was fun. And then at the end, you save Princess Lala and you give her a kiss, and it's, there's the love theme. So,
so a kiss means love?
To me, it does. Yeah, sure. Why not?
To me,
it had hearts and stuff, right?
There was a heart. Yes, there was. Yeah. At the end, there's a picture of Lolo and Lala, and there's a heart between them. And they are in love, and you saved her. Spoilers.
There you go.
And,
man, if you were with us at the strip club in Tampa, you'd have thought you were in love.
This game came out in the 80s or something, right?
This was probably like 89. It was, yeah. So pretty. The Lolo 2 and Lolo 3 came out a bit later. And Lolo 2 looks like identical to Lolo 1. Lolo 3, they give you more flexibility. You can like pick what set of levels you want to go to, and there's like an overhead map where you're actually like moving around, so it feels more like an actual, like almost like an adventure game, I guess. There's like bosses in that one, but I haven't beat that one. I've only beat the first one. But I'll probably, I played about halfway through the second one. I'll probably go back to it. I'd like to play the third one at some point. I mean, it's fun. But
Are the graphics like exactly the same as the original NES version?
oh yeah. The Nintendo Switch Online is just straight ports. Yeah, there's no enhancement at all. Yeah, so
It's a theme amongst the Nintendo games.
So is it weird playing that like on a high def TV? Does it look kind of weird?
So when I played it, so I've got an NES hooked up to an old CRT. So when I play that, it looks fine. Otherwise, I was playing it on the Switch. I mean, it looks fine on the Switch. It's better that like if you hooked your NES up to an HD TV, it would look very poor. But playing it on the Switch, it looked fine.
I think they do put some kind of filter on it because
yeah. Because if you just hook the NES up, it would look bad. So yeah, you're right, Bash. They probably got some filter set up to make it look nice. The next game I played then, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I love this game. This is probably one that I play through once a year. Yeah, I mean it's super hard, but once you kind of master the double jump mechanic, it's really fun. I mean, it's got great sprite work and the music is awesome. And again, you beat the game, you get a kiss, and everything's great. That's also on the Nintendo Switch Online. So I played that on the Nintendo Switch Online as well. I beat it before, so I was fudging with some of the save states. Like, I made it to the second boss without taking damage, which I thought was really good. And then I died to the second boss, so I would have had to restart the level, and I was like, fuck that. I'll just use a save state. So
I can make it about 5 minutes in that game before I'm dead.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, when you first play it, it's hard as hell, but I mean, it's really fun. Like, I think once you can beat the second level, the rest of the game's really not that much harder. I remember the second level for me was like the big hump that I had to get over before I could actually beat the game. I mean, the difficulty curve is pretty much just a flat, straight line that's just really hard throughout, but it really doesn't ramp up in difficulty that much unless you're doing the second playthrough and you want to get like the second ending without save states. Man, that is just brutal. I've never done it. It's really hard.
Did you get the second ending?
I did with save states. I did. Yeah, I played through it again. Yeah, but I've tried to do it without save states before because you've got to get a specific item, and then it's if you die and you've got to redo that whole last level with that specific weapon. It's just so hard, and you've got limited time, and you've got to be just flawless against the last boss. So yeah, it's really hard, but I mean it's a great game. And then the last game I played, this was not a love themed game, but I played Untitled Goose Game.
Yes.
I did not love it as much as
Wait,
the
what?
internet did. No, I did not love this game as much as everybody else seems to have loved it. No, it seemed like I mean the controls are kind of loose, and like I get it.
Loosey goosey, baby.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Brian hates Goose.
I get it. No, I love it.
Oh shit, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know that I love that. And it was just like there was a lot of things where it's like, all right, I know what I have to do. It's almost like a stealth game. You've got to sneak around.
It felt like a Flash game, right? Like something that you play on the computer, like in the early 2000s or whatever. That's what it kind of felt like.
Guerrilla Warfare?
I don't know. Something you
nothing
play
like
in a browser. You know, like it didn't feel like a fully fledged game. I don't know.
I didn't really get, I guess, the Flash vibe. The gameplay style of like, it's kind of like stealth, and then it's like, all right, I know what I have to do, but then if you get caught while doing it, then they kind of push you out of the area that you're trying to, like, if one of the missions, you know, you're trying to steal something off the counter of somebody that's selling stuff, and then like you're trying to get it, and then they push you away, and then you're like, all right, I know exactly what I have to do, but in trying to do it, you're just doing the same thing like over and over. Yeah, I did like the bare minimum to beat that game, and then after you beat it, there's like, oh, here's all these other additional things you can do, and I was like, fuck that, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I feel like the best part was like when you had to beat up that little boy, like with the glasses, the little glasses. The little fat kid.
Charming game. How many of you guys played this? I thought Muff was the only one who played it.
I played it.
No, I played it.
No, I was one of the last ones.
Moose played it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think
didn't
we
know
all
that.
played it.
Oh damn! Did everybody else like it more than me then?
No.
Oh yeah, Moose loved it. It was his
I'm
favorite
on the
game
same
of
page as you,
2020.
Brian.
Yeah.
You should have been there for our indie game podcast. We were talking about it a lot.
I'll have to re-listen to that, I suppose. You liked it, Melvin?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun, cool, short experience. I enjoyed it a lot.
Did anybody like it enough to do any of the extra stuff at the end?
Did anybody play the co-op? That's what I want to know.
Was it
No,
co-op?
I didn't do any.
They
added
added-
co-op when I played it.
They
Did
added
add
co-op
that
later.
Yeah, just like 6 months ago or something, they had a co-op.
That
there
nobody's
two
gonna play.
Geese then? Is that?
Yeah, it's
probably.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
Online co-op?
I would imagine. I don't know though.
I have it on Switch, so probably not.
Yeah, it didn't
Forget
say
that
anything
on
about
mine.
online, so I don't know. But that's all I got. Moose, you want to tell us what love theme games you played this month?
Yes, I didn't beat any love theme games. I played 2, and I didn't like either one of them. Call of the Sea, which is on the Xbox. That game kind of reminded me of The Witness, but not the good part of The Witness. But it was just like you're on an island, you're doing like these really easy puzzles, and it's not like The Witness where you're doing like sequential puzzles. It was kind of like do this puzzle, open a door, and like you don't really know what's going on. You're searching for your husband. You're some woman in the 1930s, and you're on some island that like apparently all the natives in the area are scared to go to. It was really bright and colorful, so it wasn't like a scary game, but it had like because it was like the 1930s, it kind of had almost like a BioShock vibe, and it wasn't like it was just more like the setting kind of felt, because BioShock was like, I don't know what year it was supposed to be, but it was like a 1950s type setting or something in BioShock. And so you had that like older setting, so it kind of felt like that initially, but the gameplay was nothing like BioShock, and it wasn't scary or like, it wasn't unsettling or whatever how BioShock was. But yeah, it was not a game for me. I didn't get very far. The other game I played.
How'd it look, Moose? Did it look good?
It looked pretty good, yeah. I mean, I played it on the Series X.
You bought this shit game or some game?
No, it's Game Pass. I wouldn't buy a game like this. It's definitely not my style.
Wait, what was the gameplay like? Was it like a walking simulator, or was there actual like gameplay to it?
It was a walking simulator with like puzzles, like light puzzle elements. Like it. I don't think there was any combat. I probably didn't get far enough to know for sure, but you didn't have any weapons, and there were no enemies as far as I could tell. But you were just on an island solving like these really simple puzzles to try to find your husband. So the other game I played that I didn't like was Haven, which is also on Game Pass. I did not buy that, Melvin.
I heard Haven was good though.
Haven, it felt like really cheesy, and I couldn't get past the cheesiness. Like you're on a planet, right? So I guess it could work for space theme, but you're on a distant planet. You're on a distant planet, and you're escaping like almost like the government or like a civilization. So you're with your like I guess I don't know if she was a girlfriend or your spouse or whatever, but it's you and this other girl, like a guy and a girl, and you can choose either one to play as the whole time. Back and forth, you can swap characters. And the movement's kind of cool, because I guess it's kind of like Journey. People compared it to Journey, where you're kind of sliding around and gliding around. But the dialogue was just so cheesy, I couldn't get past it. So I quit that game after like, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. And it's another game that had like light puzzling. Like it wasn't hard. It was just like, almost like Entitled Goose Game, where you're just, going through the motions, even though like, you didn't really feel like you were gaining anything from it. But yeah, I did not like that game. And I probably won't go back to it. So those are the 2 games I played. And I've been kind of chugging along in Final Fantasy 12, which I assume I'll beat next month. But there's no love theme in Final Fantasy 12 at all, which the story is a problem in that game. It's very boring. It's not a bad story, I don't think, but it's just like, I don't know, it's very bland. It's not exciting.
You don't sound like you're having fun playing this. Is this like the worst Final Fantasy game you played or something?
No, Final Fantasy 3 is the worst one I played. I'm going to stick to that forever, probably. Final Fantasy 12, the gameplay is kind of weird, right? You set these, what they call gambits, and it's basically like you're doing like pseudocode, and you can do like, up to like 20 lines or something, where it's like if the enemy has 90% HP, you can do this attack, but you can set that for all your characters, including your main character. So literally you just run into enemies and just watch like all your code do the work.
It's on autopilot?
Basically, yeah. So
I remember hearing that about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, kind of weird at the same time, because it kind of takes you out of the game. You just sit there and watch most of it.
Plays like an MMO in a way, old school MMO.
Like an MMO, but it's just kind of odd. But I don't mind the gameplay. The story is just very boring. It's very like like world politics and kind of slow moving. There's cutscenes every so often, and they're so spread out that you forget what happened before. And I've been kind of like playing this game pretty aggressively, so it's not like I'm taking really long breaks in between sessions or anything. But it's just one of those stories is very forgettable. It's just not very like Final Fantasy is usually known for having kind of deep, stories and stuff, and this is just not really hitting it for me.
Sounds like Spyro would love it.
It's the game's actually it's kind of fun, even though I'm kind of complaining about it. But the gameplay is not bad. It's the story is just so dry. I don't know. Maybe it gets better. I think I'm like 75% roughly through the game, and the story is very forgettable.
How long is it?
Aren't very good. Man, I have like, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but I have like 45 hours in. I think it's going to be at least 60 hours.
Oh, that's amateurs.
I don't know, man. For this game, if you put that many hours in it, I'd be surprised if anybody else did this so far. But I mean, I know people on the internet seem to love this game. Like it's either that you love it or hate it. I'm somewhere in between, I guess.
Got to cross it off the list, though.
Yeah, I have to cross it off the list.
Just want to throw out that the NES Final Fantasy 3 is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
but
that's
the DS one they cranked up the difficulty like 3 times. I don't know why.
If I played the NES version, but the only way you can play it in the US, right, is like through an emulator or something.
You get a translation patch and stuff.
Yeah, you can't play it like straight out like a retail version of the game in the US anyway. One of those things, I guess. Yeah, I probably would like it more if it was like the old school sprite style. I do not like chibi art, so that's another reason why I didn't like Final Fantasy 3. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I didn't beat any games this month.
All right, cool. Muff, what you got for February?
So I played Catherine, and I don't know if y'all heard of this one, but you should play this one. This is a really good game. I was very pleased. So I got Game Pass and PlayStation Now, and the way I look at it, you're putting between the two like $10 a month in. You got access to so many damn games. It's perfect for podcasts, honestly. But there's so much shit on there that otherwise you'd be dropping $20 to $30 on for one single game and only play it like once, maybe twice. So far it's turned out to be a good investment for me. But Catherine was the first game I played on there, and it is a puzzle game. You start off, you can choose to play just the puzzles or go through the story. So I went through the story, and so it starts off, you're in a relationship with your girlfriend, and you've been together for a long time, things are getting stale, she wants to tie the knot, you're hesitant, blah blah blah, same old shit. And the next day you wake up, and you fucked a bitch. That wasn't her. And you don't remember any of it.
Oh, shit.
And,
Nothing's like, been there, done that,
Yeah. So I was like, alright. I can relate to this so far.
I can relate.
And, so obviously he gets all worked up and he's nervous. He's talking to his buddies and, he's got a bunch of stress, new job, her, and now all of a sudden this unknown new girl that he met doesn't recall meeting, but every night you go through the day, and every night you end up at the bar, and you're with your buddies. You're at the bar. You're talking to the bartender, the waitress. There's an arcade game there called Rapunzel, and if you play the arcade game, it's literally the same type of puzzles that you actually play in the game. And so when you leave the bar, go home, and you gotta get drunk. You gotta get fucking drunk at the bar, and then you go home. And then when you go to sleep, in your dream, that's when you start playing the puzzles. And the puzzles, you just climbing floors. And there's blocks, and you got different things to...
Muff, are you describing the game or just your normal life?
Every day, man. Everyday life. And the game. So, but, you gotta avoid little things like, there's spiked blocks, and all these fucking sheep. everybody's a fucking sheep but you. You got some bitch ass horns though, but all these sheep, and you gotta try to avoid the sheep because they try to push you off, and you fall, you die. And so you start pushing these dang old sheep, try to climb up past them, and you make it to the top, and you go through the door, and you go into this walkway, and you have to ask you a question every floor. You get asked a question, and so like there's like 8 levels to the game, but there's like 3 to 4 floors each level roughly. So you get asked all kinds of fucking questions. And first question was something about like believing love or some bullshit like that. I said fuck that. And then it shows you after you pick your answers, it shows you each time what the majority of people picked on their first run through. I thought that was pretty dang cool. And I was very different from a lot of fucking people apparently.
You don't
And,
say.
No.
So, but I told myself, okay, every question I get, I'm going to answer as true as possible to what I would truly believe or go with. And so you wake up the next day, you go through the whole thing, you work, you got your girlfriend calling you, texting you. Then you got the new girl. Her name is also Catherine. That's fucked up. So you got 2 Catherines now. And both texting you. You're trying to work. You go to the bar, get drunk. Boom. She's fucking there again. Fucked her again, and you don't remember any of it. So you go back to the puzzles, and there's like screaming babies that try to kill you, and horrifying screaming babies and brides chasing you, trying to kill you while you trying to climb these things, avoid springs and fucking spikes and fucking sheep, and you trying to go through. And then
this game sounds wild, man. Sheep, scream, crying babies.
Oh, and so and just
He's not making it up. It's wild game.
I'm still not convinced he's talking about a game.
you hear the bride, and just the sound alone is like, get me the fuck out of here. And you start climbing faster. Like, get up. And then there's one level. It's a big old booty trying to eat you. And so I had to just let it eat like 5
Wait, what?
times. It's a big old booty trying to eat you while you climbing these blocks.
The booty's trying to eat you.
He's trying to eat you while you trying to climb.
It's like reverse for you.
Yeah, that's like reverse reality.
That's right.
Booty bibs don't work for that much, huh?
Oh no, it worked. I stood there to come. I'm like, oh. And so eventually we but the puzzle parts are really freaking cool. But you go through, and all the questions that you answer ultimately decide your ending when you finally beat the game. So there's a shit ton of different endings. My ending, when it was all said and done, I went with the new Catherine. Fuck the old Catherine. The new Catherine was a succubus, and I was just like, holy shit, destiny fulfilled. That is what my goal in life is. So this was a great game.
Spoiler alert.
I thought the puzzle aspect, it's a solid puzzle game. Like,
Yeah.
It's got a lot of other like stuff going on that you don't normally find in puzzle games, but the core mechanic was really fun.
How many endings are there?
About a dozen or so.
Okay.
So definitely try it. Do the story, is worth it. The puzzles are really fun too, but the story, all the better. And there's a lot more to it that I'm not going to share because I want y'all to enjoy it if you actually give it a shot and play. But yeah, that was a fun game.
There was a new one that came out too. I think it was kind of like a remake of that, but they added like a third Catherine or something. So I don't know how that works, but
I haven't ventured into it, but I'm going to eventually. What else I play? Oh, we had that cold front to where it's like 0 degrees every day, so that meant hunting season's over, but that meant no fishing for me. So I've spent like the last 2 weekends just on the couch playing Rainbow Moon. We talked about it a little bit. I started off, when it's Slay the Spire or whatever. I had just started, so, that's a fun game. Long, which I don't mind. Spyro, I know you don't mind, because the gameplay is really good. Turn-based RPG. No love theme or anything in it. It's just fun, good, normal mechanics. A lot of grinding, for certain parts because you gotta get your level up, to move on. And, but it doesn't feel like grinding. It feels like you're actually working towards something, seeing the difference. And, it's not a slow downtime at all in it, which is fun. Today, I actually beat it and I was fighting the boss and I kept losing to the boss and I don't know how. My level was maxed out and I was like, how do I keep losing? And so I finally looked up a video and I'm like 10 seconds into the video and this motherfucker in the video has got like 4,000 or 5,000 health compared to my 1,200. I'm like, how the fuck did he get all that? And no wonder I'm dying all the way. I was too short on health. So, I said, I just got frustrated, so fuck it. I was like, you know what? I'll come back to it some other time. I'll just finish up. I got all these key items and I'll just finish up all these side quests. And so I'm traveling everywhere, dumping off this shit. And then this guy says, oh, hey, I just provided more inventory in the shop. You should go take a look. And I go and holy shit, here's the gear that I needed. So I bought that all up, went, and sure enough, beat it. So I had all these key items that I just never turned in for who knows how long. That was what was holding me back. So, but it was overall a fun game. If you're into turn-based RPGs, it definitely, the ratings were up at like about an 8 out of 10 on the sites, and that makes sense. It's good. Slay the Spire, been playing that. I didn't get a real chance to really play it before we did our deep dive. So I didn't really understand it, and it was fun. We're all playing as a group, but I didn't really understand it because everybody had different thoughts and methods, and I was sleepy and tired, and y'all were yelling, and it was a good time. But since playing on my own, I understand it, and it's fun. I like it a lot, and I stream it on the Twitch pretty much daily, because I like to try just different things. I'm like, okay, that worked that time, let's go a different route. So I like little things like that. And, Hot Shots Golf. Hot Shots Golf on, PlayStation now. Fun game.
Which one?
I don't know.
You golf, Muff?
You know what, Emil?
Emil got him good.
You realize I'm the one that's always standing up for you.
Yes, sir.
And all of these motherfuckers talking shit. You don't even remember me being in your presence for 4 hours golfing in a
I
fucking
remember.
day.
I remember.
All right. You got anything else, Muff?
No, I said that's it.
All right. Darkside, what do you got for February?
Okay, February. The first love theme game I played was Bugsnax for the PlayStation 5. It was actually a free game. Being a PlayStation Plus member, you know. Bugsnax. I beat that. I platinumed it. No big deal. It was a weird fucking game. So, I don't know if any of you guys have played it. I think one of you two of you have given it a try, but basically you play a journalist of this race of being called the Grumpuses, and you get sent like a film reel of this explorer, this disgraced explorer named Lizbert, who basically she invites you to go to this island called Snaggletooth Island.
Oh boy.
And say, hey, come to Snaggletooth Island and report on Bugsnax because they're great and all this shit. So you being a reporter, you go to this island and you go to the town and nobody's there. And so you're like, something's amiss, you know? And you end up meeting this weird character named Filbo, and he lets you know that everybody left Snaggletooth Island because of one reason or another, and if you go out and find them and bring them back, then everything will be great again. And that's basically the game right there. You run out, you find these different Grumpuses, and they want you to do shit for them. And the shit that they want you to do basically consists of finding them bug snacks, which are half bug, half food, and they want you to find specific ones. And if you find it and you give it to them and they eat it, then they turn into part of that bug snack. So if it's like a strawberry bug, if he eats it, then the fruit will turn into a strawberry. And yada, yada, yada. So basically the whole game is a series of fetch quests. Where the love theme comes in is basically different characters are in different relationships with people, and everybody's on the outs. Everybody hates everybody. And you basically have to get people back together. Like there's a married couple, there's actually a couple same-sex couples that you have to get back together. And it wasn't bad, it just wasn't, there wasn't a lot of variety to it. There's a lot
Did
of
you have
variety.
fun?
Yeah, I had fun. There's a lot of variety to the bug snacks and how to get them, but, cause I mean, it's basically like a puzzle game, it's like they all have a set pattern and you have to figure out where they are, what time of day they are. They're kind of like, that town from Majora's Mask where different things move about at different times of day. So you have to kind of figure out where they are, where they're going to be, what time they're going to be there, and what they want so that you can catch them. It was all right, I'd say it's a good 7 to 8 out of 10.
Oh wow!
It's the later you get in the game, it gets really, really dark, like really dark and fucked up. But on the surface, it seems like it's very like happy-go-lucky until you start to get to know the characters, and they have all these emotional issues, and everybody hates each other, and then it gets crazy dark.
Yeah, that aspect sounds really interesting to me. Just it seems like from the surface looking at it, it just seems like a bright, colorful, happy game. But knowing that it kind of gets dark seems kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean it looks great. It's in the first person perspective, and it's very cartoony looking. But yeah, pretty dark shit.
How does it compare to Octodad?
I didn't play Octodad, but I know that you liked it.
Big mistake.
I think you would like it, Brian. It was fun, and figuring out the patterns, collecting what people want, was a good time.
Does it play kind of like Pokemon? I think I heard that somewhere.
I never actually played a Pokemon game, so I'm not sure.
How long was the game, Darkside?
I put 17 hours into it, but
oh my,
how long to beat says it's only 13 for a completionist.
And is it pre-installed on the PlayStation, or
no? It was a PlayStation Plus game. Was it? I think it was November or December.
Yeah. Downloaded it before you got it, right?
Yeah. What else did I play? I played for Love Month a dating sim called 5 Dates. I jerked off the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. So this game was released either I think it was late last year in 2020, and it's a dating sim where it's this guy and he dates 5 girls, not at the same time, but just during the pandemic of 2020. So everybody's on virtual dates, and it plays exactly how you think it's going to play. Like you video date different girls, you ask them different questions, they ask you different questions, and then you have multiple options to, see if you're compatible or not.
Is there penetration?
There is no penetration. Spoiler alert, you don't actually physically interact with any of them.
At all? Even if you win?
Even if you win, you don't physically see them. It's all virtual through the internets.
Well,
So it's like it's a text-based game then, or what?
No, it's video conferencing.
Oh, okay.
They're like Skype-ins.
So it's like this right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you...
Except for
Darkside's on
like this.
7 dates right now.
Yeah.
It's been proven.
Yeah.
7 out of 8 of us are enjoying this.
That's right. I would penetrate all of you. But yeah. So I mean, there's just to break it down, there's a Spanish lady. Oh, I should say this. It's a very British game. Everybody in the game is British. I'm assuming it's British based, the developer, but they all speak with the English accent. And there's some hipster chick, who's very Spiral-ish. There's a stuck-up blonde who, is like a lawyer wannabe. There's a sexy Indian nurse who fucking was awesome. I liked her a lot.
Shiva.
There's some TikTok bitch, some influencer, whatever the hell they're called. There's some alcoholic Spanish chick. It was a good time.
I like the last one.
Yeah, I platinumed that too because I'm the best. And
are these like real people actors, or are these like
they're
video?
real people. It's all full motion video. I guess is that what it's called?
So it's not animated in any way.
No.
Wow.
Nope. It's full video, no penetration.
So did you end up settling for any of them?
Well, part of getting the platinum was, I should say that what it is that you set up a profile and then you look at other people's profiles, those 5 girls, and you get to choose 3. And then you go on your first date with all 3 of them. And then depending on how the answers go, you get to choose 2 that you want to have a second date with. And if you were compatible with them based on your answers and their answers, then they will accept a second date. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. So
any like cutscenes like Spiral with Life from like real world?
It's all done through like a Skype type thing, so it's all face to face type thing.
So no drama.
Not really. I mean, there's a little bit. One of the girls has a panic attack while you're Skyping her. No, it happened.
I know. Did you just delete or like close like X?
Hang up.
Yeah, it's like,
fuck this bitch.
Oh, my internet's is not very good looking.
I did have that option, but I chose to see what happened.
Just eating popcorn, watching her freak out.
Mm-hmm. So she's freaking out, and I'm like, all right, baby, relax. But I wouldn't say that it was anything revolutionary or, I played it for this month because it's Love Month, so.
Are there male options if you want to, if you are a female playing this game? Are there male dates?
There are not. There's only one option to be the one male character, and then there's the 5 females, and that's it.
Gotta wait for the sequel.
Who's this game targeted toward?
Dark side.
Virgins, probably.
I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty much targeted towards anyone that likes any type of dating sim. And I think they were like, oh, it's during the pandemic, so we can, see if we can make some money off that niche. So, but yeah, love games for that, for this month. That's pretty much it. I also played, some weird fucking game called Riddled Corpses, which, if you look at the cover, it's like 2 big-breasted anime chicks. That's not the game. The game is a top-down twin-stick shooter where you shoot zombies.
No, hold on. Go back to the big-titted animated corpses.
What about them?
What game is this?
It's called Riddled Corpses.
Riddled?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reading that right. PlayStation 4, man.
Is it on PS Now?
Buff's asking a
I
lot
do
of
not know if
questions.
it is.
Buff's very interested now.
Yes.
It's literally just the cover of the game is big titty anime girls. That's it. You don't see them ever again.
There's a lot of Switch games that do that. If you ever go through the Switch eShop, there's all sorts of anime chicks with their boobs hanging out, and then the screenshots of the game are nothing like that. It's just to entice people into looking into the game at all. And apparently it is successful when they do that.
It got me good, The game itself is actually fun. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter. It's 8-bit graphics, so it's that type of style. What is it? There's 6 or 7 levels. Basic story is there's zombies doing zombie shit, and there's some evil fucking thing at the end that you gotta kill that's causing all the problems. I got the platinum because I'm the best. You know how I do. And if you like twin stick shooters, you'll like this. It's exactly that type of game. There's nothing revolutionary about it. And what else? Other thing I played on the PlayStation Vita, also got the platinum because I'm the best. Melvin, I'm the best. It's called Hebraxia. That is a fucking flight shooter, kind of like in the vein of Life Force. Yeah, it's like a Life Force type game, except for instead of being insanely difficult, it was really, really fucking easy. And
Life Force wasn't difficult.
Life Force was hard as hell.
Yeah, that was a hard
No, it
game.
wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Muff, I'm sure
All
that
those games are.
10-year-old Muff probably got through Life Force a lot easier than 40-year-old Muff would.
No, 40-year-old Muff knows how to force life.
Mm-hmm.
Forces life out every VR session, right?
Oh yeah.
A little life flying on the bathroom floor.
Tell you what, man.
Just spreading life all over his bathroom.
The room looks like LeBron just hit that chalk and made it go poof up in the air, man.
Yeah, that's all I really. I mean, I played a few other things, but I haven't.
Tell me
finished
about
them yet.
Mayonnaise the game, man. What about Mayonnaise the game?
Mayonnaise the game.
Didn't you play
Oh
some
fuck!
Mayonnaise
I
game?
did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
My name is Mayo. When we were recording the Slay the Spire episode, I beat that whole fucking game while we did that episode. My name is Mayo, man, on the PlayStation Vita. I got the platinum on that too, Melvin.
Good shit, bro. Good
Oh
shit.
shit, Melvin's pissed.
It's the stupidest fucking game I ever played in my life. It's a jar of mayo on screen, and then you tap X, and you got 2 fingers in it, gives it a pinch. And you do that over and over again. And then
Sounds like a love game.
the more you do it, you unlock different hats or different like things that you can put on the jar of mayo. So then you put those things in the jar of mayo, and now it's got like a mustache or some shit. And then you pinch it more and more. And you do that about 10,000 times, and then the game's over.
That does
Sounds
sound
incredible.
like a love theme month. Yeah, you should claim double points, man.
So yeah, I was tapping X 10,000 times while we were doing the Slay the Spire episode.
Yeah, we can hear. Just click, 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 click.
I had a lot more fun with My Name is Mayo.
Then Slay the
Melvin.
Oh man, Dark Side.
But yeah, that's it for me. Just platinum all month long, being the best. No big deal.
Platinum February.
All right, Melbro, what you got for February?
So for February, the big game that I played was Shadow of the Colossus. So Dark Side, I know you and Brian both have been recommending this game, so
Oh yeah.
decided to give it a shot. Amazing game, man. Really enjoyed it a lot. So I'm playing the remake on PS4, on my PS5. So I don't know if it's just, me, the fact that I'm playing it on a PS5 or my incredible fucking TV, but this game looks amazing. Amazing, man. Like the scenery in this game was so dope. Like the character models could look a little better, but like the scenery and just riding through on that horse, man, it's probably like one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, man. It just looks amazing, like on a 4K TV. Incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely
There-
gorgeous.
Yeah. There would be times where I would just, it's almost like therapeutic in a way, man, just riding in the forest and looking at that scenery, dude. There would be times I would just stop and just like look for a bit, man. It was like so dope looking. But yeah, the actual game, it was fun. Not like a 10 out of 10 type game, but it was fun. I love games where you fight like huge ass creatures and shit like that. So pretty much for anyone who hasn't played this game, which I'm sure most people have, but the entire game you don't really fight any like minions or anything. It's just like boss fights. So there's 16 boss fights in the entire game, and you're this guy trying to save his I guess his unconscious lover that the Titans can bring back if he defeats all of them, all 16
My
of them.
favorite type of lover is unconscious.
Unconscious. Hold on. How unconscious are we talking?
Can't feel a thing, man. Can't feel a thing.
That could be anyone.
But yeah, you have to beat all 16 of these Colossus to bring back his girlfriend. So you go through a quest to do that. And finding them, is kind of the hard part. So you have to the map is pretty huge. It would take you a long time to, go from one end to the other. But you have to hold your sword in the air to get clues about where to find the Colossus. And then each of them have a really unique, style or strategy that you have to do to beat them. In a lot of creative ways. So I thought that was pretty cool, man. The thing that I don't like about the game, though, so I know we always joke a lot, is there any game with a worse camera than Mario 64? I think we found one. I think this is it. The camera in this game is so terrible, man. It's like you'll ride your horse and you'll try and do something, and the camera will get stuck sometimes, or it's hard to see. It's real loosey goosey, man. It's bad. And the controls in this game were really bad, man. It's probably some of the worst controls in video games that I've ever played. There would be basic shit you would want to, yeah, the controls were terrible. It would be basic shit you want to do, climb up. But then his body would contort to the side, and it was just real hard to control the character to me. Just the jumping was real loose. I like my controls to be tight. It's just real loose in this game.
Yeah, I think, I make a lot of apologies for this game, but I think it is intentional. I think it's supposed to be where you're not this great skilled warrior that can do everything kind of perfectly. I think you are meant to be just kind of like a rag doll, kind of flopping around and kind of struggling as you're fighting these big Colossus. So I don't know. I was able to kind of deal with it, and the rest of the game kind of made up for the shortcomings that it had.
So you rationalize shitty controls with made up lore is what it sounds like?
I remember on the PlayStation 2, the controls were janky, and I thought they made a lot of improvements for the PlayStation 4 version.
Well, I can't imagine how janky the PS2 version was, man.
The PS2 version, at the time, it was incredible, but it was working that PS2 to death.
Yeah.
it was asking a lot for that system to run.
Not the best looking PS2 game, but it did slow down a lot when you got looking up at an angle at some mountains or something. Then it'll just
slow down to 10 frames a second.
What was your favorite Colossus, Alvin?
My favorite one. I think the final boss was pretty cool, man. I like that one, the huge ass dude.
I hate it. That was one of my least
shooting
favorite
the fire.
Yeah, I didn't like that one much.
Who was your favorite?
The bird is amazing. I love that.
Oh yeah,
that bird.
Oh yeah,
the bird was cool.
So
The very
there's one
first
where
one.
You're riding your horse, and you're with your bow and arrow. There's one that's flying through the sky, and you've got to ride alongside him on your horse and shoot. That was amazing.
Yeah,
but a pain to control though.
I kind of like that little bulldog one. That kind of stood out because it's not a Colossus or Colossal, It's
right. And the other thing about this game, you guys know I love our games with great music. This game did have some really good music. The only I feel I wish they played the music during the open field. It's really you only get music during the actual Colossus battles, and sometimes those can go a little quick. I want to hear more music from the game, but the time that you did hear the music, I think it was pretty good. Yeah, that was it for this game. I wish, I think, the best video game that could ever be made would be, if they created a Zelda game with this, gorgeous looking scenery. That would be the best thing ever, wouldn't it?
You didn't think Breath of the Wild had good scenery?
Yeah, they do need to make a Zelda game with
the graphics
scenery.
of this. The graphics of this game, but in the Zelda universe. So I think that would be dope, man.
I don't know. I like Breath of the Wild graphics. I don't know.
Seems kind of basic, really.
I'm a basic guy, no complaints.
So this is my only love game for the month. And then the one other game, I haven't beat it yet, but I'm on the last boss and it's kicking my ass. But y'all just talk about it on this podcast. Is Cyber Shadow. So this is a game, I think by Yacht Club, who also made some of the Shovel Knight games. So it's a indie game where you kind of play with this ninja. It's kind of almost a Ninja Gaiden type game, right? And it's a old 8-bit sprite looking game. And It's hard as shit, man. This is probably the toughest game I played in a long, long time. It's hard as shit, and the reason being is like they don't give you a lot of checkpoints. Like you have to go through a long stretch of enemies and platforming and stuff just to get to a checkpoint. And if you die, you got to start back at the last checkpoint. So they're really unforgiving in that type of way. There'll be some parts where you'll be stuck on the same part, like the same screen for like an hour, just trying to get to a next checkpoint, which can be really tough. I know How Long to Beat has it at like a 7 hour game. I've probably been playing it for about 15 already. I, and the thing is, I know Moose has mentioned this, they really introduced new mechanics in this game really slowly. So when you first start the game, it's pretty basic. You just do a sword slash. You don't really have any like double jump or any special mechanics or moves. But they do slowly introduce that over time. And I think the later half of the game is a lot better than the beginning because you get those new abilities.
Yeah, and the abilities, are they pretty basic abilities? Like what kind of abilities do you get? Because when I was playing the game, I didn't like it because you couldn't, like, the movement I think was kind of weird. It was very, like, I want to say like boxy, kind of. Like you couldn't angle your slash at all.
Right.
You couldn't duck and slash. It was just
Right.
like, it was just very, I don't know, rigid.
Yeah, I mean, some of the abilities you get like a double jump, just like basic stuff. You get like a ninja star you can throw. You get like a dash move where you can start to run. It's like
Oh,
stuff
okay.
that you would expect for them to introduce like early in the game, but you don't get these abilities like a double jump until like, the last 2 levels of the game. The one thing that I do like about this game though, I like the controls are really, really precise and tight. And that's pretty nice, man, when you're playing a game like this, because to beat a lot of these sequences, you have to be really precise about your timing and jumps and everything, and the game control is really good for that. I mean, overall, I'm enjoying it, but I don't think any of you will probably enjoy this game.
You don't think
really
I would?
hard. Maybe Brian would be the only one. I know Moose likes his games easy. Darkside likes the easy platinums.
I don't know if I like my games
Spiral.
easy.
Yeah,
Spiral
Moose
RPG.
is a pretty proficient gamer, I'd say. I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Muffin Bash wouldn't give a shit about this game. Emil
I
doesn't
do
have
like
balls.
easy games.
I like my games with like good controls. I don't like feeling
Oh.
like I'm handicapped by the game limiting me.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably only recommend it to you, Brian. You might like it, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else.
The link to Yacht Club games is what has me intrigued. But I did a little research. It was published by them. It wasn't developed by them.
Oh, okay.
So, because when I heard it was really difficult, I was surprised because Shovel Knight is not that difficult. But yeah, I'm still intrigued to try it out at some point.
Yeah, maybe on sale. Try it out. But yeah, that was it for me this month. Blaze Spire. Beat that again. Incredible game.
It was a
Yeah,
good
come
game.
to think of it, I beat Slay the Spire, the 4th boss, 5 times this month. I forgot to mention that.
Come to think of it.
Just an easy task, right, Moose?
Yeah,
You're
no big deal.
kinda
Didn't
guy.
think I'd report it, you know.
Spiral, you want to tell us what you played for February?
Yeah, so I only played one game this month, and it was on theme. And that game is Fire Emblem Three Houses for the Nintendo Switch. And I haven't played a Switch game since last year's Animal Crossing. So I returned to the Switch. I bought this game because of a sale that Melbro mentioned in a group chat last year. And I'm an RPG guy, so I picked this up. And I've never played a Fire Emblem game in my life. I believe this is the 16th game in the series.
Holy shit, really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's 20 games altogether, like with some other like offshoot type games.
I think there's like 15 Fire Emblem characters in Smash Brothers now.
Yeah.
It's a deep well.
I didn't realize there were so many.
Yeah, me either. And I picked it up because I'm an RPG guy and I do like turn-based. And for me, turn-based is only going to be in a tactical RPG like Fire Emblem. I feel like there's never going to be an actual RPG that's going to have turn-based anymore. It's going to be standard action combat. So I picked this up. It was released or released by Nintendo, developed by Koei Tecmo and Intelligent Systems. I just wanted to mention Koei Tecmo because I want to keep up with our monthly mention of Tecmo Bowl. So there you go, Mo. So the game is super interesting. It has a good story, and the combat is really, really fun. It reminds me of some of the older games I really enjoyed, like Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance, and also Final Fantasy Tactics, which is one of my favorite games of all time, back on the PlayStation. And the combat's really enjoyable. You get different job classes, whether you're going to be like a mage or a warrior. There's different classes of mages, maybe a white mage or a dark mage. As you advance in the game, you can get into different job classes that unlock. Like you can start riding a horse, and that allows you to move quicker throughout the map. You can ride like a unicorn type thing, or fly over different obstacles. So it adds a level of complexity to the game, which is neat. So you got to think about your battles. But overall, the game is super easy. I don't think there's maybe 2 maps where I had to restart because I fucked up, and that was because I was doing dumb shit. It's not a difficult game, but it's a long game. It took me 75 plus hours to finish. No, I think just over 70 hours to finish my first run through. How long the beat says 49 hours, which is such utter bullshit. Because, man, we can go on about that site, but if you know exactly what you're doing, maybe 49 hours, but if you're playing the game, like, blind, it's at least 60 hours, I'd say, 65 hours. And the game is called Three Houses because you can choose to select what house you're going to be a professor at. You start the game out as being this character that doesn't know much about his or her past. You can choose a male or female character. And then, you join this monastery, which is a huge ass monastery, which really adds to the length of the game because this monastery is massive. In this monastery, you can do side quests like fish and cook meals, tend the garden and stuff like that, and plus train your characters. There's a lot to do in this monastery, but and there's 3 houses, so it's kind of like a Harry Potter type theme where you can pick the house you want to join and teach at. And there's 3 houses: the Blue Lions, the Golden Deer, and the other one is the Black Eagles. So I chose the Black Eagles because, like, there's a main person for each house, and the other 2 houses had male characters, and the Black Eagle house had a hot, blonde, blue-eyed leader. So obviously I chose that one because we're doing the romantic game.
Sounds like the devil.
So there were no broken English Latinas to choose from. So.
One day, I hope to find
most ideal game.
I had to make her in Rainbow Moon. Canela, baby. Came and saved the day.
So you go through this game, and when you level up your characters by teaching, and you need to motivate them by doing certain things, giving them gifts. And they have a certain amount of points that you can allocate to different job classes. And then once you max out those job classes through combat or through teaching, then it unlocks further job classes, which is really cool. I like the aspect of the game. And how the game works is it goes on a monthly calendar. So you start teaching your kids, training them and things like that. And there's a big battle at the end of each month. So each month there's, a big, progression of the story where you go into the combat and you fight, do the turn-based combat, and then it turns another month, and you go on, from there. And the story is pretty coherent. Sometimes these Japanese games have really far out, like, stories that don't really make sense. This one to me made a lot of sense. I could follow it. I wasn't lost at all. It made sense to me. You unlock characters as you go further in the game. I played on casual, by the way. I guess when you play on normal mode, like, when your characters die in a battle, you lose them forever.
See, that's what I was going to ask you. I heard this game had permadeath. And,
yes.
That's kind of a staple of the series, isn't it?
Yeah. The older games, there was no choice to turn that off either, but the newer ones, I believe you can, right?
Yeah, that's what I read too. And that's, like, I don't know, I'm kind of torn about that because the story's so rich that you really get attached to characters. So if you do some dumb move in the game, in the combat system, and you lose that character, I'd be pissed. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's a waste of time. I would want to reset my game and start all over. And
Throwing your Switch across the room like
the
Melvin.
battles can last like 45 minutes, So you'll want to go through 40 minutes of combat and lose a character and start all over. Like that just seems super silly to me. So I didn't play it like that.
And you have to spend a lot of time upgrading them too, right? And like teach them shit. So you just lose them and that's it.
Yeah. Then you can recruit members from other houses to join your house. But for me, I like using the characters from each house and furthering the story. There's parts, once you go farther into the game, you create these connections, and some characters hate each other, but as you unlock the story, they become more friendly. And there's different levels of like friendliness. I'm not sure what they call it in the game, but that unlocks better combat potential. Like they get stronger when they're fighting together. So it's kind of complex, that portion of the game.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the romance goes,
you get to bang the students, right?
So it's a Switch game. So
I've seen that one.
I'm kind of disappointed in the romance because you just, at the end of the game, something happens and you get to choose different characters, but it's not as explicit, of course, as like a Mass Effect or a Dragon Age or a Witcher. It's just like, oh, I like you too. Let's go on a date. Have some coffee, have some tea together. And that's it. Oh, I did want to mention that one of the house leaders, her name is Manuela Muff, so it's kind of a Latina type theme. And there's plenty of hashtag titty meat with that character. So it's a game you might enjoy, because I think it's probably similar to
I appreciate the screenshots.
Oh, yeah. So, it's funny, in my run through.
You can send those to beatofthemonth@gmail.com.
Yeah, everybody send us your titty meat screenshots.
The story itself.
Sorry, Spiral.
No, it's okay. The story itself is cool. Like, it's got friendship and romance and betrayal, and there's a time jump. I feel like any game that has a time jump is pretty epic. So, and there's two parts to the game. We were talking about Final Fantasy last podcast. There's a part in the game which happens and it kind of changes the whole entire outlook of the game. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but the story is definitely cool. You get attached to different characters and things happen, to them, to their characters, and this changes the entire outlook of the game. So overall, it's a really good game. I would recommend it to anybody who likes turn-based, tactical RPGs. I think on Metacritic I got 89 out of 100, which is a pretty good score on Metacritic.
Yeah.
And
the game seems really intimidating, like, cause it seems like there's so many different mechanics. You have to teach all these skills and run class. It just seems like there's a lot, and then like the whole real-time strategy piece. It just seems like I bought it, I want to play it, but it's a little intimidating to play it, cause I know it's gonna take a lot of time to learn all the mechanics.
Yeah, and I'm still learning with my second playthrough, and I want to say there's 4 different endings. You can do 3 houses, and then one of the run-throughs, there's a alternate playthrough you can do. But the thing too, Melvin, is that the combat is pretty intuitive. It's not very difficult to get the hang of. Some of the training stuff is a little difficult, but you can just have that done automatically. So you don't have to go into each character and, change classes and assign hit points and things like that. You can just have the game automated, which makes my second playthrough a little bit easier to digest. So yeah, it is a really good game. It's a long game. But it was a very, for me, it's one of the highlights. It really brought me back to a love of the Switch. I really only play Animal Crossing and put it away. Never played it again. But this game has excited my future playing of Switch games. I'm excited to play some of the games that are exclusive to the Switch. Like, Emil mentioned Xenoblade. I want to play that. There's some RPGs coming out this month that seem pretty cool. And obviously Zelda is a game I want to play this year at some point. So yeah, that is my game for this month.
Welcome home. Nintendo loves you, Spiral.
Welcome home.
I think you'd like Octopath Traveler. The game plays turn-based, and it's kind of got a different spin on it. So it's a pretty cool game. The story's terrible though, so don't expect a great story in that game.
And that's a Square game, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'll definitely play that then.
The graphical style is really dope too in that game.
Yeah.
All right, Bash, you want to round things out for February? What'd you play this month?
Kind of took a bye month. I didn't really play all that much. I played Slay the Spiral. I said Slay the Spiral again. I don't think I've ever said that out loud and not said Slay the Spiral. But yeah, we already did a whole podcast on that. Poison character is in fact the best character in the game. Just want to confirm that.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I played that just kind of in the background doing other stuff.
You beat it, right?
Yeah, I did beat it with Poison.
Nice.
I can't get anywhere close with any of the other characters. So. Also, I'm gonna bring up Curse of Dark. What's that Castlevania ripoff game? It's like my favorite game ever, and I'm blanking on the.
Oh,
title
Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon.
Bloodstained, yeah. They had a classic mode to it, and like it plays like an NES Castlevania game, and they stopped like even trying to pretend that they aren't just completely ripping off Castlevania, because it's just like a remake of the original Castlevania with like Bloodstained graphics. Like even the same item drops come out of the same candles and stuff. It gets a little different later in the game.
Wow, they can do that?
Probably not. That's why they change it up a little bit later on. But like Konami doesn't pay attention to video games anymore, so they'll probably get away with it.
So this is not the actual retro looking one, Curse of the Moon. This is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. They added like a side scroller mode to it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Basically, left to right, you can't control your jumps in midair. Like, I played it on easy mode, and on like the first couple levels, it feels almost too easy because you only like take 1 damage and stuff. But by like the 3rd level, everything ramps back up to like almost regular difficulty. So I would play on that if you're gonna play it. But
did you play it all the way through?
No, I didn't finish it yet. But
do you know how many levels there are?
7, I think.
All
same
right.
as the first one. It has the same map screen as the original game, by the way. So basically, as the original Castlevania, I mean. And yeah, that's about all I played this month.
All right. When we return, we will be going through our top 3 love games of all time. So please stay with us.